So we've been talking about the problems you might face if you choose not to be sexually active. And we talked about having some peer pressure and a little awkwardness. You might experience some regret. You might worry about your partner. You might experience some pressure. Those are the things that you probably will have some experience with. If you're choosing to wait, you'll have to think it through. You'll have to plan how you're going to talk to people. We started to talk about some of the problems you might expect to experience if you're choosing to be sexually active. Your reputation, regret, your parents. Those are definitely three things you have to worry about. You have to worry about HPV. You need to worry about chlamydia and genital herpes and HIV. You need to worry about gonorrhea. You need to worry about syphilis and hepatitis B and C and pubic lice. That's one category of concern that you'll have to have on your mind. We know that when we talked initially about something called safe sex, we've already learned how unsafe physically that is. Our two most common diseases are not stopped from the use of condoms, and from other forms of birth control other than condoms do nothing against sexually transmitted disease, nothing at all. So what we know for sure, just clinically speaking about these diseases, you cannot possibly protect yourself from a bad decision with something outside of you. The only way you can protect yourself is by making good choices in the first place. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is what happens if you make a baby. What kinds of problems do you face as a teenager if pregnancy becomes a part of your life? Let's talk. There's two ways I want to take this. I'd like for you to tell me what do you think would be different about your life, and then we're going to take a look at how much it costs. What do you think?
You'll have a hard time finishing school.
School. It's very, very hard to finish school. 70% of teenage mothers find that they cannot finish school. What do you think?
You might have to decide to marry the father.
Oh, yeah. Well, can I take that a little step further? She said you have to make the decision about getting married. In the 2000s, in the new century, and in the 1990s, very few teenagers make that choice to get married if they become pregnant. Most teenage parents will be a single parent. You'll be raising your baby alone. And I want to make a comment about this. I worked with a group of teenagers for several years, a support group for teenage parents. And some of the kids that came to the support group were moms, and some of the kids that came to the support group were dads. And the thing that struck me very, very strongly during this support group was how angry the young mothers and the young fathers were at each other. They were mad. And all we would have to do is mention the other parent's name, and their face would get bright red, and they would get all mad like this. They were so distressed, so distraught, that they shared this experience, made this baby. Now they're on their own. Not only are they not supportive of each other, but they spend more time in court than they spend in school, about child support, about child care, about who has custody, about who gets to see the child. They knew their lawyers on first-name basis. They were friends with their lawyers. They spent so much time with them. So instead of being able to focus on the things about being a kid, they had to focus on things about being an adult, and it wasn't a happy experience for them. What else do you have to worry about if you have a baby?
Won't get to play sports.
Extracurricular activities. That would be sports, music, student council. All of that stuff ends. What else?
You have to decide if you want to keep the baby.
Okay. So you have to make a decision about raising the baby without money, without experience, without maturity.
Your social life?
Your social life. Over. Nobody says to you, oh, gee, could you and the baby come to the prom? You know, that isn't what happens.
How do you decide if you want to have an abortion?
Oh, you have to worry about abortion, and that's a big thing. So we talked, one of the things you have to worry about is raising the baby. One of the things you have to worry about is adoption. There is abortion, and I just gave you the answer. There's a third one, and it's adoption. Okay? Those are your three choices once a baby's growing in there. But I can give you total assurance that once the baby's growing in there, your life will never be the same. Never. And if you choose to raise the baby, you have an uphill struggle raising up a baby all by yourself, without the skill, without the resources to do it. Abortion very, very often seems like an easy answer, and it's not. Abortion is a terrible, terrible consequence of teenage pregnancy. It's a terrible consequence. And it is a consequence, obviously, for the baby who loses their life. The baby loses their life in abortion. It is a terrible consequence for the mother who makes the choice to have an abortion, because I'm going to tell you what happens to these girls. They're in a panic. They never in a million years imagined that what they're doing with their boyfriend is going to make them pregnant. Never crossed their mind. They think that being pregnant will not happen to them, and they miss their period. They panic. What's going to happen? How are they going to tell their parents? How are they going to tell their boyfriend? How are they going to go to school? It's the worst thing. So maybe she talks to her friend, and her friend says to her, you can have an abortion. You don't have to have this baby. And then maybe she goes through the phone book, and instead of calling someone like Birthright, who's going to say, let us help you to have this baby, she's going to call the places that say they do abortions. And what those places are going to say to this young girl is they're not going to talk to her about her baby. They're going to talk to her about her choice. That's what we call abortion in this country, is a choice. We don't call it a baby. So they're going to talk to this girl about her choice. And she's not going to talk to her boyfriend. She's too afraid. She's not going to talk to her mom and dad. She's too afraid. She's going to be talking to people who are going to use the word choice instead of baby. And she makes the decision that this choice to have an abortion is hers. She goes to the place where they do it. They talk to her about her choice, about her life, about her future. And it isn't until it's all over that in her mind, that choice becomes her baby, when it's too late to do anything about it. I have never met a teenage girl who's chosen to have an abortion who hasn't had bad dreams for a long time afterwards. I have never met a teenage girl who's chosen to have an abortion who isn't tormented by that decision years later. When you watch TV, when you watch the news, when you read the magazines, it seems like it's like going out for dinner. And that's not what it's like at all. It's a terrible tragedy. It doesn't solve the problem of the pregnancy. It ends the pregnancy and gives you a whole brand new set of troubles. This is a terrible choice. And by the way, boys, I have to tell you, you are in a particularly tough situation on this with the abortion question, because you made this baby. Scripture tells us that God knows us before we're even in our mother's womb. Right? So you made this baby. You decided as a young man that the risk of making your girlfriend pregnant wasn't so bad that you'd go ahead and have intercourse with her. You made a baby at a time where you couldn't support that baby, where you can't marry that baby's mother, where you can't father that baby. You made that choice. Your girlfriend can choose to abort that baby without ever telling you. You could never know she was pregnant, and she could have an abortion. And you are morally responsible for the life of that child. And then the other option, besides raising your baby, ending the pregnancy, is releasing your baby to adoption. Mary Ronan's opinion is that this is the best thing a teenager can do. That's my opinion. If you find yourself in this situation, now I know none of you guys are going to find yourself in this situation because you're here today and you're making good decisions, but if a young woman finds herself in a situation where she's going to be having a baby and she has to decide between ending that baby's life with abortion or allowing a family that is going to love that baby well to raise that baby up, what do you think the better choice is? If you were the baby, which would you pick? Okay? You'd pick adoption. No, wouldn't even think about it. You'd say, Mom, release me to a family that can take care of me. That's what you'd say if you were the baby. Your baby doesn't have that say. So you have to be careful that you can say it for them. Sadly, very few teenage girls do release their babies for adoption. Very, very few. I would like to see a lot more of that happen than it is. All right, what else do you have to worry about? What do you have to worry about?
Miscarriage.
Yeah? You have to worry. So can we say the mother's health? Can we worry about that? Give it that the full thing? We'll worry about mom's health. Your bodies are really growing a lot during your teenage years. And to grow a baby, which is 100 million billion cells in 40 weeks, to grow that baby is a lot for your body to do. What do you think?
Your friend might try to exclude you.
Oh, yeah, your friends. All these friends that were giving you such a hard time about having sex or not, the minute you get pregnant, it's over for you. They're not going to be hanging around with you. They're not going to help you with any of this. And your friends are not going to make your life any easier or nicer for you. What do you think?
Become more dependent on parents.
Yeah, that's right. So at a time when you're wanting to become independent, you actually have to become even more dependent. Okay? What else? What do you think?
Being role model for younger kids.
What a great point this is. She said being a role model for younger kids. You're going to give them the wrong impression. That's the truth. The older you get, the more other kids are looking up to you. And if you have kids in your family, little siblings, kids in the neighborhood, your role model ability is really changed. But excellent point. Very good. What do you think?
Pregnancy can hurt your body.
Yes, it does. It actually does. It's not good for your body. When your body's still growing, it's not good for your body.
You could get in trouble for having sex with someone younger than yourself.
This is another very important point. The whole issue of statutory rape. If there's a 3-year age difference between sex partners, the older partner is breaking the law. If one sex partner is under 17 and one sex partner is over 17, the person who's over 17 is breaking the law. And this used to be a law you could break and sort of get away with and never have any problems. But certainly here in this part of the country, this is a law that they are taking very, very seriously. And I don't know if any of you saw the newspaper over the weekend, and on the front page of the newspaper they had all these pictures of all these men who are sex offenders. And I wondered how many of them, their offense was statutory rape. And now statutory rape means they had sex with someone who was too young. Okay? That doesn't mean it can be consensual sex. This can be your girlfriend who's 2 years older than you. This can be a person you love a lot who's 3 years older than you. But if you're a minor, they're breaking the law. And they're breaking the law, and your parents can press charges. It gets even more complicated than that for you young men. Because if she becomes pregnant and she has a baby, you are financially responsible for that baby. If she needs to get federal money, if she needs to go on welfare, if she needs food stamps, if she needs to take, if her child's health care needs to be paid for by Medicaid, if any of that has to happen, you as the father are financially responsible for that. And I'll tell you a little story about this. An attorney that I know was telling me this story. She thought it would be helpful for you to know. She had a client who lived out of state, who owned 2 homes. He owned a home out of state, and he owned a home in Darien, which, as you know, is a pretty ritzy community. So he had a house in Darien, and he had a child. He fathered a child as a teenager. He was paying child support to this child. He wasn't in this child's life. This child was now 18. He was paying child support and fulfilling what he believed were his economic responsibilities to this child, and he and his wife decided to sell their house. They put their house on the market, and they had an offer on their house in Darien, and when they went to go through all the legal things about the offer being accepted, the person who made the offer found out that there was a lien on the house. Now, a lien on the house means you owe money to someone and you can't sell your house until you pay that money back. So they were very surprised by this lien on the house. It was for $60,000 was the lien. They were very surprised by the lien on the house. They started to investigate it. And what this $60,000 was, it was owed to the state. This man owed $60,000 to the government because his child had $60,000 worth of health care that was paid for by the government, not for him. So before he could sell his house, now he's got a wife, he's got other kids. This was, in his mind, a mistake he made as a teenager. Imagine the sadness in that child's heart. This was a mistake that he made as a teenager. And he has to write a check for $60,000 before he can sell his house because his child got health care. If you want a college loan, you can't get one. If you want to buy a car, you can't get financing. If you win a scholarship to college and you're a father who owes money, you can't get your scholarship. This will have an economic impact on you until this baby is 18 years old. And you created that by choosing to have sex. You have no say in the results, but you created that by choosing to have sex. So that's a very, very valuable point. What else? What do you think?
Your boyfriend might break up with you.
Yeah, this is a breakup for sure. We did some research on what makes kids break up. And we looked at about 3,000 kids and what made them break up and what didn't make them break up. We were actually looking to see if one partner choosing not to have sex caused a breakup. That was the study we were doing. And we found that no one in our 3,000 kid study broke up because one person didn't want to have sex and the other one did. We couldn't find a single kid who broke up over not having sex. We found a lot of kids who broke up because of a pregnancy. We found a lot of kids who broke up because one kid gave another a disease. We found a lot of kids who broke up because the stress of the sexual relationship was more than they could bear. We found a lot of kids who broke up because they cheated on each other. We didn't find anyone who broke up because one person didn't want to have sex and the other one did. This is a big reason for a breakup. Anything else we should put down? Your parents, yeah. You know, a lot of kids say to me, oh, if I had a baby, that's all right. My parents would help me, right? Well, I don't think so, you guys. I don't think so. Not that they don't love you dearly, not that they wouldn't want your life to go well and smoothly and easily, but you know what? Your parents don't want you to have sex. So you're going to turn around, you're going to say to your parents, I disobeyed you, and this is my problem. Fix this for me. As a parent, that wouldn't work in my house, okay? So I think that you want to be sure you don't get yourself in this situation. Kids say to me, oh, my mother would take care of the baby. How many of you have mothers that have a job? Your mom's going to quit their job to take care of your baby? I don't think that's going to happen. 70% of teenage parents have to leave their house. Their parents say to them, we love you, honey, come for dinner on Sunday, but this is your problem. Find yourself a place to live. So because your parents, it's not that they're mad at you, it's just that you've made an adult decision and now you have to live with that consequence. You're going to have to find housing. Now, what I want to take a look at here is how much all of that will cost you so that we have a feeling, a real feel of the economic impact on that. But before I do that, I'm going to give you a little homework. Oh, I know. So mean, okay? But what I want you to do is I want you to, at the dinner table with your family this week, remember you're making the decision about whether or not you're going to be sexually active this week. So you have to have this, do this homework this week. I want you to say to your family at the dinner table, to your mom or your dad or who's ever at the table with you, what would happen in this house if I, as a young lady, or my girlfriend as a young man, became pregnant as a teenager? You got to ask that question, okay? Now, once you get the answer to that, let's make a list, a real quick list of what do we need, what do you need, what do you need to buy, what do you need to have money for if You're taking care of a baby all the way in the back. Yep. Diapers. You can't do it without diapers. All right. What else do you need? I'm going to try and call on kids I haven't got yet. Clothes. For who? Yeah, mom doesn't get any clothes. The baby gets clothes. What else? Hospital bills. It costs $13,000 to have a baby. That's if everything goes well. Food. Should we get food for mom and dad or just for mom and baby? Mom and baby, okay, food. And we're only going to feed mom. And we're going to get formula for the baby because teenage moms don't tend to breastfeed. We wish they would, but they don't. A babysitter, childcare. You need full-time childcare. If you've got school and work and all of that, you got childcare. Okay, what else? Housing, very good. Housing. What else? A crib, furniture, right. Okay, what else do we need here? So you got legal. You need legal fees, okay? You better hope somebody's going to give you free legal help.
Well, the mother does need clothes, but she's like pregnant, maternity clothes.
Yeah, but you know what? You can't afford them. We can't put clothes in your budget because when you're a teenage mom, you can't afford clothes. You have to hope people give them to you. Isn't that something? One of the things that I see absolutely across the board with the teen moms that I work with is that they don't buy clothes for themselves. A mother that I've become friendly with, her child is now 4. She hasn't bought one brand new thing for herself to wear in 4 years. Now let me ask you guys this. How many of you have gotten something new to wear since school started? Okay. School started a month ago, not even a whole month ago. Okay. How many of you got something new to wear this weekend? Okay. How many of you could imagine going 5 years without a new outfit? Yeah, the boys raise their hands. There isn't a single girl hand up. Okay. Let's just take a look at what we're going to spend here. Diapers cost $150 a week. Yeah, a month. I'm sorry. A month. Formula costs $150 a month. Clothes, since your baby grows out of their clothes every 6 weeks, I'm going to give you $50 a month for clothes for the baby. Okay? Now, the hospital bill, you can't afford $13,000. Your parents' insurance is not going to cover you. Okay? It isn't going to cover you. So if you're not old enough to get a job where you get insurance, and for most jobs, you need to work at least 30 hours a week to get insurance, and here you are trying to go to school, you're not going to have a method for paying this $13,000 hospital bill. So you're going to make a deal with the hospital. I'll give you $100. I'll give you $100 a month. But on top of that, you have a baby. Your baby, once a month for 6 months, has to go to the doctor when they're healthy. And each of those visits cost at least $100. So even if we give you just $100 a month for doctor bills, the doctor bills keep piling up and piling up and piling up, and you owe more money than you ever imagined you would owe. We're going to spend $300 a month on food for mom. If we're feeding dad also, we have to more than double that because you teenage boys eat so much. But for moms, this is like includes paper towels, toothpaste, all of that kind of stuff, okay? Child care costs $225 a week for an infant. That's $900 a month for child care. Housing. If you want to live inner city, 1 bedroom. Inner city, $600 a month. 1 bedroom. $600, okay? And that does not include heat, light, water, sewer, or anything like that. That's your utilities. And that's going to be another $300 a month. So your housing alone is going to cost nearly $1,000 a month, all right? So let's just look at this. We have $300, $600, $700, $1,600, $2,200, $2,500, $2,550 a month for a baby. Okay? How many of you have ever had a couple of $1,000s in your pocket? Okay. Oh, well, you're more fortunate than I am. I never have a couple $1,000s in my pocket. If you have a job and you work 40 hours a week and you make $7 an hour, that's $280 a week. By the time you take taxes and Social Security out of that, it's $200 a week. That's $800 a month is all you can earn. And $2,500 a month you have to spend. So pregnancy really makes things tough fast. It changes your life immediately. The minute you miss that period, your life is off course. And it's going to be now not just your own life you have to get back on track, but now you're responsible for somebody else's life too. Can you be ready for that when you're 15 or 16? No, I don't think so.